Hello, Joe here. Pleased to see ya. And can we talk? Uh, I'm a senior citizen living in Vancouver. This backdrop is actually just a few blocks from my place, the Sun Yat-sen Garden in Chinatown. And it's kind of like a part of my backyard. And I am in a wheelchair, disabled most of my life, and been retired a few years now. Hey, and geez, so being recorded, not just voice, but face and manners and personality, this is kind of a different flavor of communication, isn't it? Um, and proposing to do it with another and with others, uh, can take practice and diversification. There's lots of ways of doing it, maybe as many as there are kinds of people, kinds. Hmm. Um, let's see. I've been an artist. Photography is one of my multifaceted interests. Um, but I'm considering portraiture, as in this way, as in saying hey, and not in a self-aggrandizing way, but as a subject study. Artists do subject studies all the time, you know? What's of interest, what do we notice? And actually, um, this little exercise is actually uh, an aspirational attempt to offer an homage to Montaigne, Michel de Montaigne. Um, Being disabled, people talk about mountains, and I don't do much of that kind of mountain climbing. As a matter of fact, I've been told that the trails of Everest are not just garbage, but loads of frozen shit that periodically thaws and lots of other glitches. So, being more literarily inclined, I prefer to consider reading Montaigne climbing a mountain. And the project is, what do I know? What's a person? This is a life, and geez, how to describe it? And maybe bring out some aspect of beauty or interest or usefulness. Um, and Montaigne named his book Essays, and in French that is to try to describe what's going on. And that's an extraordinary process as well. Uh, and Montaigne had his library and his not just relationship with the living among him, but some of his greatest friends have been dead for centuries. And Montaigne is a marvelous introduction to the Renaissance, to the rebirth of classical and humane ideas and history and oodles of lessons and um, personalities that can sometimes stand forth as fresh friends from the past, worth knowing and worth sharing. And so these tools are describing me in ways that Montaigne's pen had no way of encompassing. Um, the willow branches dangling over the water, reflecting a bit of Monet, maybe. Um, the curve on the roof. Geez. And those curves go back so far in history. And the garden's named for Sun Yat-sen, who lived in Vancouver for quite a period. Uh, I know, I know so little. Um, as both Montaigne and Socrates were prone to remind, they both began from humility as a foundation point, not arrogant. Um, anyways, I'm inviting another artist friend of mine into a bit of dialogue experimentation. We'll put together maybe a 10-minute piece or something, see how it goes, and put it up and see if it's of interest to anybody. An aspect of this that is a point of comfort, questioning, maybe stage fright, is that once it's on the net, it's in public. That means out there in the world, means being a public person. And that is sometimes a part of being a citizen, but also it carries um, risks and switches that might not want to be switched. Something to consider, I guess. Uh, but these modern tools make many flavors of communication much easier. And on the record, you know, people can be on the record with one another this way as a tool for negotiating or as exercises for learning more effective modes of integration. Because actually, it ain't just me who don't know everything. Each of us has more points of ignorance than knowledge, but it's through communication and integration that we expand our effectiveness. And that takes exercise in several vectors, and maybe these tools invite a different kind of a gym to visit. Gee, spend an hour practicing communication as if it were more than just learning an instrument for making music, but also learning more who we are by what we can do together. Because along with those limits on how much I know, there's how much I do, and I can learn to do more um, with others. Yeah, uh, and choosing points of integration can be mm, up for debate. Uh, so I'm just composing these off the cuff at the moment, and I should probably actually do them with bullet points, like a bit more focus. This is a bit too subject to tangent, or the tangents make it blurrier. But it isn't just communication, it's I'm liking that guy on the shorts, the Canadian advocate, Todd, who's relentlessly decent as an attribute to Canadians. And decency can be a verb. It takes some exercise, and that includes the exercise of discernment on when to speak up and when to keep one's mouth zipped, or when to deflect a comedy or be silent or to call the cops. Um, there's a lot of choices in options sometimes. And learning to talk with friends is maybe a good place to start. Uh, I think a lot of folks might be skittish on being on the record on screen, but post it to YouTube. It's a nice way to share with the folks one wants to. Um, yeah, sharing is one thing. Sometimes putting it out there means it's out there for all. Um, gee, all. Uh, it's Christmas next week, and it kind of reminds me one of my early stage appearances was in Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, and I was 13 years old, and I played Tiny Tim, and I didn't have many lines, but my one main line, "God bless us, everyone," was delivered to every seat in that theater with emphasis, and I was happy to do it. And it was life has moments, you know. Um, life is made of moments, and gee, I should probably tell that whole tale, but it would probably take a couple of hours. Um, not a novel, a longish short story. But it bears remembering because there's lessons in it. And gee, whipping up a Christmas story, uh, with a Christmas story in it. That's one project under consideration. Another one is a short piece on three kinds of skids, because right behind Chinatown is the downtown east side with kind of an rather infamous Skid Row. And I'm quite familiar with that too. Uh, but there's other kinds of skids, and it's actually a rather rich concept. I'll do a piece on it. Anyways, I'll be doing several pieces over the next while, some shorter, some longer, and some a couple of hours. Uh, hope not to be a bore, but exploring the human condition by way of a disabled artist's chatterbox on a rainy day. Uh, that's a wrap for this for now. More to come, and thank you kindly.